At the top of the agenda, it really is the difference between our two football codes. Dominant in this country, the AFL and the NRL. The AFL folded its Queensland games. The NRL flipped theirs to come to Sydney. And now they're dealing with precisely the issues that Lachie Neale put on the table last night. The anguish of players being asked to play football rather than stay home and look after family. Would you have resisted that? Would you have said, hey, we can't be leaving homes and families at a time like this?
Yeah, for sure. I think my first opinion on that would have been I wouldn't have played. I would have stayed here with Jules and the kids, and we have a dog here as well. So unless they were willing to fly families as well, which on a pretty short notice, I'm not sure if they could have organised that, but if they were able to fly families out of town and we could have sorted out the dog, then I would have done it. But, yeah, I wouldn't have left Jules here with our 3-year-old daughter and a 10-week, 11-week-old little boy. So that would have been, yeah, pretty hard to do. I wouldn't have played.
It's so interesting. So the Dolphins are due to fly out of the Gold Coast in an hour's time, and their club officials are dealing with players who have had police door knocks saying you're going to be in the danger area. The offer to relocate families to Brisbane while they go and play in Sydney. And then a partner just posted, can footy matter that much?
Well, my gut reaction 2 nights ago was no, it doesn't. It's important, but not that important. I thought Lachie Neale's response was instructional in this whole thing. It was just straight away. There was no, what would I do? Maybe he said I wouldn't play, and I respect that enormously. I don't think you don't win any bravery awards. I don't see the NRL beating their chest over this. This is a decision they've made, and the players are then inclined to go or not. I mean, they can put their hand up and say, well, look, I'm taking the Lachie Neale line.
Yeah, so we're just being told on NRL 360 they've broken the story that 6 Dolphin players have chosen not to go.
Okay, well, that's...
So the flight's in an hour and they're not going to be on it.
And that's exactly what I'm thinking. And no one should judge them. There would be a couple of knuckle draggers who would say, well, this is weak as, and get down there and play the game. But everyone's different, Gerard. Everyone's commitments are different. Everyone's home life's different. And I'm not in the least, that's the first I've heard of it, I'm not in the least surprised that there are players who are opting to stay home in such uncertain circumstances, and equally there's no judgment on those that decide to play. Everyone's different.
Bree Nikorima posted this today because a game of football is that important, leaving families behind to ride out the direct line of cyclone alone. And I do think this is where it's different. This is a very specific threat. It is in a time frame, which is where it's different from COVID. And the idea of manning the home front just feels important. So
are you surprised on the NRL's decision to play?
No, but only because when you look back at COVID, Peter V'landys's one statement was his one regret is that he shut the code down for those 12 weeks when that's what was demanded in the nation. But in hindsight, he thought it was the wrong thing to do. He should have just ploughed on. So, no, but it does feel, it's just a bit callous, to be honest.
I don't know if we can get that grab back up from, was it Bree?
Bree, yes.
How does Peter V'landys and the code then front up to her and say, well, OK, I understand your misgivings, but we're putting the game ahead. Well, not ahead of her, but we're forging on under the circumstances and the backdrop of what we're seeing right now. Again, no judgment. I'm surprised that they're doing it, but equally, I don't think it's a chest-beating exercise to say, look at us, we're moving.
No.
So here it is. I mean, this would be hard to read for Peter V'landys, I would imagine, because the game feels that important. Leaving the families behind right out the direct line, some with no support. I'm 6 months pregnant. So I guess in the end, you respect the rights of everyone to play or not to play, and good on the 6 who have decided and elected not to. I'm not surprised in the least about it.
There was the option for the AFL to do that right at the start of the week. They would have been on the wrong side of the public debate, I feel. I just feel the AFL world wouldn't have accepted this as the outcome. I might be wrong about that.
To move the game and force the players to make a decision on whether they go or they don't go. And
I don't think we would have been comfortable with that.
No, I don't. And we would have ended up with, the captain of the Brisbane Lions not going, and who knows who else would fall into line. So these are exceptional times, exceptional circumstances. I've spoken about the private the issues non-football club families are having at the moment, weddings and the like that are being cancelled. it's devastating for lots of people. So let's just get through it. Let's get through the weekend. That's my priority. It's my priority for everyone up in the affected areas. You know, Brownies up in Queensland, all the others, and everyone else watching. Get through the game can look after itself. We'll sort it out. We'll have a ripping couple of games up in Sydney, and then we'll attack round 1 with vigour.
Yes, we will. Where the NRL, I feel, is lording over the AFL is the way they start their season. So I find Vegas is just a big event. I find myself absolutely drawn to it. It's big on a couple of fronts. It's not about the American market for me. I don't think they will penetrate that, but good luck to them, because there's all sorts of negative Nancy's who'll say you shouldn't have a go. What it does is it unifies the code. It is a chest-beating exercise. We are big, we are proud, and there's just a surging sense in that. It's bolshy, and then by comparison, it's unifying. So this is the bit that's right. It's unifying. Opening round at the moment is divisive. The teams who are left out of it in Victoria and those who want to get their season going with all 9 games and all 18 teams in action, they hate it. Now, it matters in the northern market, and that's why I was supportive of it at the start. Through nobody's fault, we're left with a bit of a damp squib. Yeah. Like, this is a soft launch if ever there was one. But I did look at that again on the weekend and thought the sense of adventure and the sense of ambition actually serves their code really well. And good on them. But I take exception with the soft launch. I'm spinning it the other way. I'm spinning the most precocious story of late last year coming up against a team with a new coach who are looking for a bit of redemption. I think the game itself will hold opening status for this AFL. And, yeah, I get it. But we'll create our own buzz. The AFL will create our own buzz. Do you think they're losing ground in this phase? Is that your concern? I think our AFL world holds an arrogance towards the NRL. We are bigger by virtually every measure. And I just think we're missing a couple of things they're doing really well. Origin, which is undeniable. Opening round, I think, is a huge hit. And they had Magic Round long before we borrowed it and called it Gather Round. So they're on to a few things that I think, instead of just going, it's all razzmatazz to cover the fact their game's no good, I would caution against that. No, I think they're marketing their code super well. But I also put on the table the need for us to continue to push hard into the northern states, which is with the best intentions. And I know there are clubs out there that hate it. I understand all that. But sometimes you've got to park self-interest a little bit and promote the game up into those northern markets. And, yeah, I think we're a step behind, and they've got some big events that we missed out on. And State of Origin, you know my thoughts on that. We won't get back to what it was or what it is for them, but we do have the capacity to introduce that back into the fold and give us something to look forward to.